So Girl Scout cookies can do more than you see.
They help girls build a strong character.
And these are our 2 troop numbers. I'm from 41897.
And I'm from troop 4235.
And I've been a Girl Scout for 10 years, so I started when I was in 1st grade.
And I've been a Girl Scout for 9 years. I started when I was in 2nd grade.
Oh, and this is a picture of my troop, just by the way. I should probably point that out. So our goal is to sell 500 boxes of cookies each.
So that's 1,000 total.
And this is so we can fund our trips for the end of our senior year.
So my troop is planning a trip to Disneyland at the end of our senior year.
And my troop is planning on going parachuting, which is really cool. My troop is really small. It's only 6 girls right now. And I would never be able to find a group of that many girls willing to go parachuting with me if I hadn't met them through Girl Scouts. And you can help by purchasing Girl Scout cookies. They're $4 a box or $48 a case. You guys know this because you've already purchased cookies.
So,
oh, this will help us complete our Gold Award projects.
and the Gold Award project is the highest project, or the highest award a girl can earn. So it's like equivalent to the Eagle Scouting Award that the Boy Scouts earn.
And only about 1% of girls actually end up earning their Gold Awards.
And so it helps us improve business and management skills. We both learned our multiplication tables through selling Girl Scout cookies. It was just the 3s and the 4s though, but that's okay.
Once you learn those, it's the basis for the rest of them. And this can end our high school experience with Girl Scouting fun. I mean, we get to go on these cool trips that we wouldn't otherwise be able to fund. And Girl Scouting can make a world of difference in a girl's life. Of the 20 senators, of the 20 female senators currently serving, 14 or 70% of those senators were former Girl Scouts.
And among mothers, 66% of alumni have volunteered at their child's youth organization, compared to 48% of non-Girl Scout alumni.
And a Girl Scout alumni on average will make $9,000 more a year than a non-Girl Scout woman in the workforce.
And 76% of alumni feel successful in their career, and compared to 62% of non.
And 80% of female entrepreneurs are former Girl Scouts.
And all the Girl Scout alumni total over 18 is 59 million.
So it has a huge impact on a girl's future. It is shown through a recent study in 2012 to improve a girl's self-esteem just by being a part of Girl Scouts for as short as 4 years. And all of our cookies have 0 grams of trans fat.
And a lot of them don't have any hydrogenated oils.
I think only one has hydrogenated oils.
I think they're working on that though.
So these are our cookie varieties. Do-si-do, Samoas, Tagalongs, Savannah Smiles, Thin Mints, and Tree Cookies.
So Liz, what's your favorite kind of cookie?
My favorites are the Tagalongs, and both the Tagalongs and the Do-si-dos, they're the 2 that have peanut butter in them. And the peanut butter used in those cookies is the same that's used in Reese's peanut butter cups. Just a cool fact. And my other favorite is the Savannah Smiles. They're the lemon ones. They were created for the 2012 Girl Scout birthday. And I just really like lemon, so they're like the perfect cookie. They're just like, they're tangy and just the sugary. They're so, I can't even. They're so good. What about you?
My favorite's the trefoil because it's the original Girl Scout cookie and it really goes good with a nice cup of hot chocolate.
We dip the cookie, it's the best thing. And so we know that you guys already purchased cookies, but not sure if you know what to do with them, so these are just a couple ideas. You can use cases of cookies for coffee breaks or meetings.
And they're really good for like office party food, so you can have them at like your gatherings if you have a late meeting.
And corporate gifts, anyone that you guys are consulting for, you can just take them a box of cookies. Although with that, we'd recommend you wait like 2 months until after Girl Scout sales have ended. They freeze really well and everyone has cookies at that point, so if you wait a little bit, then they're like a treat.
And we also have some recipes that we can like pass around and look at, but they just like show the different like cookies and like what you can do with them. So that first one, they put it on like chicken, like I don't know, but they say they're really good.
They're the do-si-dos with peanut butter cookies, and you use them for like pad thai, like the peanut butter sauce.
Yeah. So there's also a bunch of like cake recipes and like a lot of like my mom was making something for like Christmas using like all of our. We had like 3 cases of Samoas left from last year, and so she's making a dessert out of like the Samoas.
And so, gift of caring. If you guys are familiar with, I think you were saying you're familiar with Operation Cookie Drop, which is where cookies are sent to soldiers overseas. But gift of caring can really be used for any volunteer organization that's in need of cookies. So one thing that my troop has done is we've donated cookies to Stanley Sam's summer camp. Have a little letter from them right there. And it's a summer camp that's funded by Children's Hospital. And we know that you guys have donated to the Circus of Dreams before. And so the summer camp is for chronically ill children who can't go to traditional summer camps because of their illnesses. So they usually go through 800 boxes of cookies in a week, and that's how long the camp lasts. So we were suggesting that you consider donating an additional 100 boxes to the summer camp to help like feed the children with the cookies, because they're fun and it's like kind of a special camp to it. Okay, so what can a cookie do? This is just a board of some of the things that my troop has done. And so there's lots of pictures. I don't know if you can't really see them all. But some of the things, just to point out, that we've done. This is really fun. It's called Sight Night. And about 2 weeks before Halloween, we put little like flyers on people's doorknobs saying that we were going to come around and trick or treat for old pairs of eyeglasses. So then when we went around on Halloween, we collected eyeglasses to give to a foundation that's specifically for like recycling eyeglasses. And I think we ended up collecting like 30, 40 eyeglasses, so it was really fun. We've also done the things with Stanley Stamps, and we got to go to Google, and it was for women in engineering. We've just gotten to do a lot of really cool stuff. I know it sounds like a broken record, but all of these things that I've been able to do for my Girl Scout troop, I never would have gotten to do if I wasn't in Girl Scouts.
And so another one of the awards we talked about earlier, the Gold Award, we are both earning ours, and I got mine approved a few weeks ago, and I'm doing a float contest in the Bothell 4th of July parade. And so this is to help like bring the community together and get the community members more involved in the community events, and maybe like it's a neighborhood float contest, so like the neighborhoods and the community groups and like a couple churches are interested, and like the Boy Scouts did a really cute float last year that they might want to do this year too. And so like just involving all of them and bringing the community together to like celebrate our nation. And then also the cookie sales, we were talking about earlier how the girls were going to London and how like there's a convention over there for Girl Scouts, and that couldn't be funded if the girls didn't have this like opportunity to sell cookies. And there's girls who are funding their whole trip to London from like past year's cookie sales. And a lot of girls like to go to summer camps, like day camps and overnight camps, or like camps around Western Washington. They can't afford that, so because camps are like, some overnight camps are $300, $400, and so they'll use the money they raise from Girl Scout with cookie sales to go to their summer camps.
I think one of the prizes this year for selling cookies is if you sell 1,000 boxes, which we actually have a lot of girls in our service unit that do, they get to go to camp for a week, like an entire week. So it's a pretty cool prize. And so this is the end of our presentation. Do you guys have any points that you would like us to elaborate on that we've covered?
Where are you in the quest toward your goal?
Toward my goal award? I have a plan. I haven't yet submitted it for like approval, but I've been discussing it a lot with my dad because he works kind of in the area that I'm working with. And what I'm trying to do for mine is, are you guys familiar with like the parking strips like between the sidewalk and the road? What I was originally planning on doing was planting, instead of like the trees, planting like an apple tree, something that can provide like food that can then be picked and given to like a local like hope link. But there's concerns with that because of the lead or like the exhaust from cars and stuff, and it can also fall on the road. So I'm considering working with housing developments because they have special like garden type designs for storm areas and planting like edible trees and plants in those areas that can then be watered by the owner and picked by hopefully gleaners for the program.
Sorry.
So also like in your Gold Award process, you have to submit an application to Girl Scouts, and then they submit it or they take it, they read through it, and they will like email you back and say, I have questions about like this, can we set up a phone interview? And you have like an hour and a half phone interview with the Girl Scouts, and then they'll email you back with more questions, and then you have to answer those. And I got emailed back a lot of questions, so I've answered those multiple times, and then
It's about a 3-month process.
yeah, it takes a little while, and then they'll email you back with the final like, congrats, like you got it accepted, and then that's really a really fun time. So I printed that in
Don't get discouraged on working on the tree. I worked on a project like that just a couple of years ago, and I was going to plant cherry trees in Pullman, Washington to acknowledge a kind of an important event, and didn't think through the fact that bees go towards cherry trees to pollinate them, and it didn't quite get approved. So
Yeah.
it was a good idea and concept that I didn't quite get, but I'm sure there'll probably be some way to work through what you want to do.
Yeah. That's what I'm trying to do right now.
Yeah.
So are there any other questions or like about our vests, anything that you want to know about Girl Scouts just in general?
You know, what's interesting was that when I was in high school, I don't think I would have had, you know, it's funny, it's like on Boy Scouts, because I did Cub Scouts, but I didn't do Boy Scouts, and some of it was kind of, I didn't have any like peers my age. One of my close friends did the boating, or the Sea Scouts, I don't think I would have had like, I would have thought that there would have been like the social pressure of like, I'm in Boy Scouts in high school, but some of my best friends did it. Do you feel like your friends, like there's peer pressure to do it because you're in a group of friends, or peer pressure not to do it as you get older?
Okay, well, there's kind of two sides to that coin.
Yeah.
Some of my closest friends are the girls in my troop. Just because we have such a small group, it's 6 girls, we've known each other for like years.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of pressure just to like remain with them
Stay
because
in.
they're like such good friends.
Yeah.
But then also just from the larger community, there's like, oh, you're a Girl Scout, there's kind of like that like look down.
Yeah.
But then it comes time for cookies. And everyone wants cookies.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, they want my cookies, so I mean they obviously respect it a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how it works for me. Like they're gonna buy my cookies anyways, so they obviously aren't so against it.
Yeah.
And I mean, like in my group of friends, like I am really close friends because I have a troop of like 5 girls, and so it's kind of like we're all like really good friends like at school, and like not a lot of people know that we are Girl Scouts. Like I'm like, oh, I'm going on a Girl Scout trip this weekend. And like, oh, you're a Girl Scout? It's like, yeah, like I am. And so it's just kind of, it's not like really like looked down upon. It's just kind of like, oh, I didn't know that about you. Like our girls still doing Girl Scouts, and then like once cookie season comes around, everyone's like, hey, can I like buy cookies from you? Like give me cookies. And then also how Liz said that only like 1% of girls earn their Gold Award. You have to earn your Gold Award like in high school. So it's like from like to the end of your senior year you have to earn it. And so it's kind of not many girls earn that. So like to colleges, like looking forward like to future like business people to like say like, yeah, I earned my Gold Award and only like 1% of the Girl Scouts earn that. It's kind of like the Eagle Scout Award, like all the boys earn that if they're like older, but then like the Gold Award's a little less, like, no.
You should definitely stick with Girl Scouts. Like colleges love to give Girl Scouts money. Like just so much like scholarships you can get with that.
You hear that, Marlon? We love money from colleges, so you're in. But so when does it end? At the end of high school, do you actually, is there a time where you actually are done and then you have to become a volunteer back to Girl Scouts? Or where is the top?
Okay,
I think it's when you end your senior year.
The end of your senior year is technically the end of your Girl Scouts, but you can, I think it's a monetary donation and you get a Girl Scout lifetime membership. Do you know about the lifetime memberships?
You can join as a lifetime member when you graduate, and then you can start volunteering right away.
Yeah.
Or just be a lifetime member, an adult member.
So I'm curious to know, I know outside of selling cookies, but if there's one life skill that you would say you've taken from all of your years of Girl Scouts, if there's one life skill that you think would be most applicable to you in your future with college and going into the workforce, what would that be?
For me, I would say rejection, just because when you're doing site sales, so many people go, no thanks, I don't want cookies, or they just walk past you without even making eye contact. And that's like at first that's really hard to deal with. That's really hard to process. But having that skill, like knowing how, okay, this college won't accept me, this business isn't the right place for me to work. Like having that skill is really good for me.
I think mine would be like confidence, because like from like when I was younger, I moved and I just like cross town, but I moved schools in like second grade, and that's like really hard to like move when you're like younger like that. And so I like joined Girl Scouts when I was in second grade, right after I moved, and it helped like get like so many more friends and like who I wouldn't have had if I like didn't know them. And just like learning how to like talk in front of a group of people, or like at day camp, like my mom led the Bothell Day Camp. She was the director for a few years, and so I like kind of like stepped up and I would like lead like morning flag if she was like doing something, and so that's like talking in front of like 300 like little kids who like don't really want to listen to you. It's like 9 a.m. and so learning like that skill really helped me like be, because I'm on ASB right now at my school, and so that actually helped like when I like gave my speech in front of the whole school. It was like if I wouldn't have had that opportunity, then I wouldn't have had the confidence to like talk in front of like all my peers.
Great job, ladies. I think you guys did a good job. My favorite cookie is the Samoas, the ones with the caramel. Those are really
The
good.
Samoas are really a toss-up because you either love them or you just don't.
Yeah.
Because I mean the coconut people, it's the same
I love
thing.
that. I think that as juniors in high school, I think I'm very impressed that you're able to develop a presentation that actually presented to us. Have you presented before, or is this your first time presenting?
This is my first corporate presentation.
Yep, same. But at the camp we did, the retreat, my group presented ours, but it was like not finished, and we had like a bunch of blank pages, and we're like, okay, well like this is gonna go here when we finish it. But
I think any opportunity you have, especially as young as you guys are, will just take advantage of that. It'll kind of advance you in your careers, and you guys are doing a good job. Can I give some feedback on
Oh,
this?
yeah, of course.
I think that what I loved about it is you were able to put all the benefits and who knew what you could do with a cookie. I mean, those are all really great. I think the nutritional facts were really good too. A couple things which I would have loved to see is I'm really interested in how much revenue is developed from all cookie sales and by cookie. I mean, that would be kind of interesting for a business person, I think too. And then also the period of time that you sell cookies, because sometimes 1 year, you know, I'll get hundreds of people asking me to sell or to buy cookies, and then sometimes I don't get anybody. So is there a window of time that we can look for cookies to be
So
sold?
pre-sales, or like usually door to door,
Yeah.
that occurs from mid-January all the way to the end of February.
yeah, the end of February, then cookies are usually delivered like that
First week of March.
Yeah. Okay.
And then site sales occur first week of March and second week of March.
Okay, that would be good, just to maybe add that to your presentation. But I think cookies, I'm so curious because there's hundreds of thousands of you guys, and so it'd be interesting. So
I think
great
to
job.
tag on that would be I was interested in understand like what percentage of the box proceeds goes to actual programs.
Okay, so
Like, right?
if they're $4 a box, 75 cents gets given to the girls in the troop. I think it's like $1 goes to the actual production of the cookies and like the packaging. And then the rest of that money goes toward the individual service unit, and I think that's something along the lines of council. It goes to the council, and that's 30, 40 cents, something in there. And then to the service unit, and then to Girl Scouts as a national corporation. I'm not sure on those exact
They have like a
numbers.
pie chart somewhere. I've seen it.
Yeah. We'll add it into the presentation.
What's the all-time record for a Girl Scout? How many boxes in a year?
The girl who sold cookies to Oprah.
Yeah.
I don't know how many she sold, but she sold
Yeah.
cookies to Oprah.
She sold a lot.
What's that number? Because Brad wants to be bigger than I think the biggest sale of all time, without you put it into pop culture terms.
Julie, do you know what the number is for our top seller in our council?
I don't actually.
It's many thousands.
Yeah, I know that there are definitely lots of girls who sell thousands of boxes of cookies. I think like at our retreat for planning presentations, there were like 4 or 5 girls that I met who had sold over 1,000 cookies multiple years in a row.
Yeah, there was one girl and she's like, my goal's like 2,000 this year, but I'm kind of aiming low. And I was like, okay, well that's good for you, but like mine's not that high. So.
One year, my daughters were selling cookies for their troop, and so I went and got cash at ATM. I brought it into the office, seated cash all around the office, and then they went around and people were like buying their cookies left and right. When I got home, they were going, "Can we go back again and sell more?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm broke." What kind of float are you making? Because Brad will be interested in this.
Well, like, so each of the neighborhoods can like make their own float and they can submit it, and so it goes either by like the theme of the parade, which hasn't been decided yet, but last year was like something about apple pie, and like as American as apple pie. And so they're really cute floats, and I was like, if there was like a contest, then like, because the Boy Scouts made one that was like just like a bed, and then they had like a tent set up on it, and like a little like lake and a little like small boat in it, and the person was in the boat, and they were like fishing in the fake lake, and they were like building a fire like on it, and it was like, and they just like went through the parade like showing them like tying knots and stuff, and it was so cool, and I was like, they would have won if they would have entered that in the contest.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just trying to like bring the community together and see if like which neighborhood can like make the most float. So, and there's a lot of churches who are like, we want to make one, so.
You remind me a lot of my uncle. Sorry, just from what your 2 friends were saying. Almost identical to my uncle.
He wants to make a float?
No, but like just the same, he would make a float.
You can come make a float and put it in the bottom. Go right ahead.
It would probably be the most amazing technology.
What do you do with the cookies that don't get sold that are like at the very, very end, like a year old or something like that?
Well, so for my troop, our family just buys them because we don't order any cookies.
Yeah.
And whatever gets left over from site sales is what goes to our family. Usually we sell them all and have to go get more. We usually like overshoot what our like original anticipation for how many we're gonna sell in site sales is. So it's not usually a problem. Usually just like a girl's family will pick up the slack by the
You're
cookies.
looking for some leftover cookies.
No, I was gonna say that they could use them to make a float, and kids could go up and pick off the float and eat the float as it's going by. That'd be novel.
Didn't it knock out Hansel and Gretel?
Yeah, that was the house, and then they got trapped. And then
Yeah.
Yeah, look what happened.
Yeah, I remember 2 years ago we got like, we had like 4 cases of the Do-si-dos left over, and like my mom like hated those cookies, and then like I don't like these. But we had like 4 cases. She's like, oh, I guess we'll just buy them. We'll just like make like ice cream out of them or something. And so we like had 4 cases, and then we like ate all of them. And now she's like, I love the Do-si-dos. So all she buys is Do-si-dos now. So.
It usually works out.
Great job. We
Yeah.
see even people with years and years of experience, often when they're presenting, they're reading the slides and turn around. You didn't appear to be nervous at all. You weren't doing one of the biggest mistakes people make is to turn around and face their slides and just read them. Which is, we see that a lot. It's very surprising. I would. What's the goal of the program? I'm curious on what's the
The
vision
corporate
for
CEO
the
program?
Yes, and how many do you plan to do? This is the first one. What's the vision? What do you plan to do with it this year, and where does it go? What do you, in terms of what you're doing, and then how you're pioneering it for Girl Scouts in the future?
This year there's 70 girls in the Cookie CEO program. And so this is kind of different from what would normally happen because you guys approached us this early in the season. But what we're doing with the program is the girls were split into groups of 3. So we're not actually all in the same group. But they were split into groups of 3 and assigned a company that had already agreed to buy at least 1 case of cookies, which is a dozen. And then the girls do the presentation, and if they do a good job,
the corporation can choose to buy more than one case. Julie, do you want to explain more the like aim of the? Because I'm not sure about the aim. Julie's the one in charge of like the entire program.
So she's exactly right. The girls will go make their presentations, and similar to this, they will get feedback on the spot from the executives that they present to. And our hope is that we'll continue to grow this program year after year. It is for girls in 8th through 12th grade to get these business, sales, and marketing skills. And this is the first year that we're doing a program like this. We've piloted it in different ways in the past, but we revamped it this year. And it's also our hope that we'll establish corporate partnerships through the development of the program. So.
That's great.
There's, oh, good. Often on sitcoms, there's someone that's selling something, and they consume all of it. There was just, I think, the middle.
Yeah.
Brick just did eat all of the stuff. Has that happened to you in your troops, where someone has, they or someone in their family?
Someone in their family.
Little brother ate
One time
20
we had
boxes.
samples. We used to, like way back in the day, we used to have like samples out of like the new cookie at side sales, but that's like sanitary now, so we can't do that. But one of the girls in my troop like ate the whole box of sample cookies, so we like didn't have any cookies to like put out as a sample. So like the other side like of the store had a sample, and like we didn't, and so everyone went to the other side and they went to our side.
It hasn't happened like quite like that to me. A lot of times like girls' parents will just eat the box of cookies. I think that my uncle ate one of my boxes one year. Yeah, I think he took like 5 like boxes of cookies, and he just
then
like
you
took
go to
them.
look and it's like, oh, I've already sold those, and you have to go get them.
Yeah, I mean, stuff like that does happen, but never like on like the mass scale that you see in sitcoms. Because like our troop will have like 300 boxes of cookies. No one's gonna eat 300 boxes of cookies and like live.
Sounds like a challenge.
You can do it.
Sure.
And did you have a question about the Cookie CEO program just before you did the sitcom thing?
I think I got the gist of it is kind of a blend of corporate partnerships, presentation, building your skills. I think it's awesome. Question, what, do you guys have will you two be doing other presentations too?
Yeah, so like she said, we were split up into like groups of 3, and so I'm partnered with a girl from Ballard and a girl from Linwood, and so we're doing a presentation for the Lifelong AIDS Alliance, and so we have a presentation with them, and we have to schedule that like starting at the beginning of the new year, so right after the holidays, we'll schedule that for like late February.
On that, do you have ideas on how to pull who are Girl Scouts that are at those companies?
No, that's part of what they'll do when they set up the presentation is encourage whoever they're speaking with to invite people, and that's part of their pitch is to say, are there any Girl Scouts working there? We'd love to see them in the presentations.
Are you looking for more people to present to, or do you feel like you have a pretty full schedule?
The girls were very interested in having more. We didn't really know what to expect at the retreat weekend, and they were all raising their hands saying, can we ask more businesses? Can we do more presentations? So absolutely.
Okay. If you send me an email, I might have a couple leads for you.
Do you have a business card?
In my office, I'll take it.
Same thing I did, you guys have business card?
Yeah.
You guys are juniors, have you guys thought about which colleges you guys want to go to? Have you narrowed down yet, or is that too soon?
Well, I want to go to Cal Poly, or like UW, but UW's kind of a stretch. But or like Western, but I want to study in like nutrition.
I highly recommend it.
I don't want to go to a public university. I want to go to something smaller. I do a lot better in smaller class sizes, so I'm interested in something that's more private. I haven't actually found anything in Washington that I'm like super interested in, but I think there's like 3 smaller colleges in Oregon that I really want to go to.
Have you guys thought about what you might want to do as a career? Or is that too soon? When I was a junior, I had no idea, so.
Well, like I want to study like nutrition, so probably being like a nutritionist maybe at like a hospital. And I know there's like a lot of like opportunities at like the Virginia Mason hospitals to like help with like women and like help them like live like more healthy lives so they have like diseases or something.
branches that I'm interested in, not a specific job. I'm interested in science is like my big thing. Like I'm super into science, especially like the area of biochemistry. So something along those lines, or politics, 'cause that's just fascinating.
When you're giving the presentation, when it stopped on that slide and you jumped in, that was really smart. To improvise like that as you go through this stuff, don't ever get hung up, just start telling the story while you're doing it. You know, it's like, as you go through, the more authentic you are about your own presentations and your own style, it's so good because it's like, it is who you are. And when you were showing the slides over here, we can't see them, but we see you. And you're excited to tell us about what those stories are, and it comes through. So we can see the pictures. We may not see all the aspects of it, but it's nice to have the prop in addition to the actual PowerPoint itself, because it is kind of a collage. We get that it's a collage of a bunch of experiences that you've had, and the basic point is, through the Girl Scout cookie sales program, you're able to do these experiences, and you can see it as you're telling the story, so it's fun.
So a little feedback. Did you guys practice? Prepare?
Like, kind of twice.
And when you practice, did you record yourself or did you video yourself or just practice?
No.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'd echo what Brad said. You did a fantastic job. I think you knew your material pretty well, if not very well. You were organizing how you went back and forth. And to Brad's point, we see even some people who work for our company, a world-class consulting firm. Not that you're better than them, but we see a lot of rookie mistakes in people that did. So take the opportunity to get feedback and do this. A couple points at a high level, just feedback. First of all, fantastic job, but you can never practice too much. Recording yourself, videoing yourself, it's a great way to see it. You pick up your little idiosyncrasies, maybe with eye contact or using like, I know that's a habit I have. But recording yourself is a great way to practice. Number two, when you are practicing in real life, you will have a slide that will freeze. You'll have a blank spot. And to Tony's point, when in doubt, just go for it. I mean, don't be afraid of mistakes. And there's a little saying in sales, sometimes it's not what you say, it's how you make people feel when you say what you say. It's the enthusiasm. Sometimes in presentations, people will be so focused on saying the right words that they'd be better off knowing the concept of the story and telling the story with like really good eye contact and really connecting with everyone in the audience. And you did a really good job of that, but I think that's a skill that everyone who presents can continue to improve. And I think the final piece, just again, this is not something you did not do well, but it's something that's an opportunity for, you know, when I look at how Brad and Tony, how they speak, finding an opportunity to engage the audience, know who the audience is. So in a small group setting like this, it would have been easy for you to open up with some connecting point like, who here has been a Girl Scout or Boy Scout? You know, giving a feel, because if...
What's your favorite cookie?
Yeah, so if these people have been Girl Scouts, when you're telling a story, this is intimate, they know what's going on. If they've never been Girl Scouts or Boy Scouts, you probably need to educate them more. So knowing your audience a little bit. Another great, when you had that time where you were talking about your favorite cookies, hey, what's your favorite cookie?
Yeah.
It's a way to get the engagement with your crowd or your audience. And if it's a huge crowd, you can do a little quick, hey, by show of hands, who loves a Thin Mint? You know, or the most popular cookie. Did you know that's the most popular? So finding those little opportunities to really connect with the audience can not make it feel like we're just getting a presentation. Great presentations pull us in to have just little interactions, either right at the beginning or somewhere during the process. And sometimes it's not a bad thing to say, you know, hey, our goal today is this, and you know, we want to make sure you know more about our organization. There's opportunity to be more involved. I think that was the other piece. I wasn't sure what your goal was. And maybe it's because I didn't look at some of the emails in detail enough, but I think it's never a bad thing to say, here's what our goal is. And again, overall, you did a fantastic job. I'm just kind of throwing some different concepts at you as you fine-tune your presentation, but it was really, really good.
There's one other thing that I think I'm interested in knowing, which is who are your mentors? We've launched recently a mentorship program within a firm full of people who've been in the business for a long time. Do you have mentors? And who are they? And how do you maintain that relationship? Who helps you be as poised as both of you are this morning?
Okay. First off, like, just my mom, she's right there. She's my leader, so she's really involved. Like, when I wanted to join Girl Scouts, there was an older troop. I was in 1st grade. The troop was in 3rd grade, so it's kind of a big age gap. But there were, I think, like 10 girls in my grade who wanted to join, but we wanted to have a mother, and she just stepped up. So having her like always be there, she always has suggestions for me. But then also something really interesting, especially with Girl Scouts, is when you're doing site sales, people will, like former Girl Scouts will come up to you and they'll give you advice. Like one of my best sales pitches, you guys can't spread this around because it's like secret Girl Scout trademark. They're $4 a box. 5 boxes of cookies is $20, but if someone asks how much they cost, you say 5 for $20. And it sounds like a deal. And you would be surprised how many people don't do the math and figure out that it's not actually a deal. So that is something that I just had, like a girl who was like 20, she just came up to me and she was like, hey, use this. And you just get like people who, they come and they give you advice, especially former Girl Scouts. Especially girls who like have been with Girl Scouts as long as cadets, seniors, ambassadors. They know like the ins and outs of cookies that a lot of the younger girls, they're just cute and adorable, so everybody because they're cookies from them. But when you have the business skills, lots of girls come and share it. And that, it's not traditional mentorship, but it is a way of teaching new skills and learning new skills.
And like with that, you can't put sale on the sign because then like Girl Scouts will get mad at you because I tried that. And my mom was like, you can't put sale, it's not a sale. And I was like, oh well. But I got a lot more cookies that year. And so like my mom's also like my mentor. She's also the one of, we have 2 troop leaders, and so because our troop used to be 2 and then we merged into 1 when like there were only like 3 girls in each troop. And so my mom like helps me a lot. Like she helped me like go through these slides last night, and like so did my dad, but he doesn't really know Girl Scouts. So and like she really just like she came to the like cookie CEO like retreat with us, and like that was really nice to like have her there, and she's one of the like helpers in like our group, and so I'm going to the other presentation for the other girls in our cabin with her, and so yeah.
I would say, just for the purpose of this, both of our moms are really involved in Girl Scouts, so that's like one of the main ways. But then, I mean, there are girls whose moms are very involved and they're not. So part of it is just we're self-motivated. We think that this is a great like corporation and it's something that we both really love, and I think you guys can tell like I'm super passionate about it. Courtney is too. So like having our moms like be there, we showed interest in it and they just like leapt in.
It was funny, to Troy's point, I love, Troy, the thought you're going on, the people raising, because I was like, when you were talking about the peanut butter ones, I was like, my favorite. Peanut butter ones, right? And the most important, one of the important things that people often forget, and it's in business too, is after the meeting, the follow-up. Okay, and so there's an email that you send or a handwritten note, it doesn't matter. It's just a follow-up, and it's in your own words. It isn't necessarily manufactured. And you said, you're like, I thought I had you on the peanut butter cookie. And then you joke. You bring in something that you learned from it, and then, or you like mentioned to Troy's point. You know what? Thanks a lot for the feedback. The next time we do the presentation, we're gonna. And then you're like showing the like, I learned something too from that presentation. So your guys' follow-up afterwards. That's a skill that you can practice because it'll pay dividends in your future. How you follow up and thank people is a really good skill.
You also have the option to do another sales pitch,
Exactly.
especially someone like Troy. How many cases should I put you down for?
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to ask for a sale.
You can always ask for the sale.
It's something, you guys have a great cause, you did a great presentation. It's not a bad thing to say, you know, Troy, sounds like you have a daughter in Girl Scouts. If you'd like to contribute to our cause, we would love to sell it. I mean, don't be afraid. Sales is not a bad thing. It's a core skill that you would use. I loved your example around rejection. Life is full of rejection, and to get an understanding that's part of life. It's a life skill to have, and confidence. You know, people want to work with and be with, you know, very confident people, and you know, it does take practice to feel that confidence. Practice helps you with confidence. So I totally read, and I'm so sorry because I just have these ideas popping in my head. But one of the things you could do if you go to another presentation would be to say, you can put a cookie up there and say, who can tell me what kind of cookie this is?
that's really good.
People would love to say, that's a do-si-do, and maybe give them a box of cookies, and I don't want you to lose money on a presentation, but,
Would you be willing to buy the cookies that are samples?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Or you can even have a joke with this, like, great, do-si-dos, $4, you know, you're back humor. But people love to be engaged in, like, you know, I was trying, like, when you were coming up with those cookies, I'm like, okay, what's my favorite? And I was trying to think, what's that one, what's the coconut one called?
Smells.
It's my favorite cookie, but I can never remember the name of it. So anyway, my only point there is engage with the audience, have fun. You know, people like to have fun in the presentations. You know, smile, and you know, if you're smiling, having fun with it, we're gonna feel good. And again, when we feel good, we're gonna want to contribute and help, things like that.
I like Troy's feedback. After the meeting, I would probably hit him up to see if he'll sponsor your prizes. Like your samples, to be able to go out and say, we're gonna do 30 presentations. We wanna give 2 boxes away. So
I'm happy to if you send me a really quality email.
Oh, yeah?
Like Tony's point, yes.
Okay, with the tag-alongs, you said they were really quick. If you take a tag-along and then you roast a marshmallow over the campfire and you put it on the tag-along.
It's like a s'more.
Oh, it's so good. Just try it out.
Yeah.
It's so good.
So I had, the introduction we got as you were looking for some feedback, I just wanted to touch on what these guys said.
Yeah.
I think most of us noticed that one of the slides didn't move. That was great covering that. A lot of people get flustered, like, sorry, and they apologize. That was brilliant. If you go to Microsoft, probably don't bring the Mac. I mean, I see people going into Nike and they hear it's a casual campus, they wear it, you know, Adidas.
Yeah.
So you want to be careful about that. I like the idea of the icebreaker in the beginning. If you have a small group, even going around and saying, we're gonna go around the room, and each person, you know, if you just introduce yourself, the one question you have that you most want to know about Girl Scouts, and your favorite cookie. And if you're up there, you know, taking notes, so when you go around, you can engage them. If you are, you may want to, you know, share the goals of the meeting, saying, you know, the most important thing we're here to do today is share information about Girl Scouts. And you know, if that was the number one thing we're doing. Number 2 is, you know, we're here to raise money, and we're going to share why we're doing that. 3, this is really an opportunity for us to get practice presenting. It's something that we think will really matter in leadership, and we're grateful that you give us that chance. So maybe share those goals. There was, throughout the presentation, you shared some really big things that you're doing. I'd love to, you know, look up infographics. There are a lot of things like, you know, can everyone guess what cookies what? Or that actually, you opened up sharing the kind of the personal benefit to both of you, which people may take as a negative, and then you got into like the more of the community things, the sending people to camp. And so one of the first things you said is, you know, the skydiving and the Disneyland, and people like, oh, I thought my money was going to go to a bigger group versus just rewarding you personally. And so you may want to be careful how you put that in. And also the spectrum of your offer, what I heard is anywhere from 1 case to 800 boxes. And there maybe show some things that are in between on what do you want the outcome to be for that group. And show maybe what your people will help you get to your goals if they understand them. And maybe, you know, our goal is to sell our boxes, and then we want to send, you know, this group to camp. That's our personal mission. If there was a mission, I think you'll see people get on board. And then maybe lastly, if there's I don't know if you could, usually in a business setting, people come in, I don't know that you would want to hand out business cards, but usually you'd hand out business cards and people would give you theirs, and it might be a way to build your network. But it's hard to ask for them if you don't. And maybe you just put your first name on there. I don't know what you do.
That's something that my church is working on, getting business cards. We just haven't got it up right yet.
Okay.
If you're interested in the demographics, you might want to look through this. This is the study that was done on girls who are former Girl Scouts. So it's broken down by how many years that they were girls and their ethnicity. And
it showed some pretty interesting data between like Caucasian and African American girls. If you want to look at those demographics, you can do that.
Another idea, especially if one of your goals is to develop relationships, is as a follow-on, not maybe for the, as you break into groups of 3, that's what you said, right? For the corporate CEO presentations as groups of 3. A follow-on, and I don't know what the activity would be, is, in this case, Marley and Troy are both connected, but like, you could say, listen, who here has a niece, a nephew, or a child? It doesn't have to be a child. And, you know, Patty's case, she has a young daughter that's in elementary school. Brad's are younger than that. As a follow-up to get some of these individuals, we'd encourage you or invite you as a follow-up. We will invite each of you that attended today to come to our, you know, jamboree, our spring jamboree, where we invite you to bring your children. And then there's another connection, because we find that philanthropic giving, there's a huge correlation with engagement, and to establish engagement, there's participation. So we sit here and we're going to look at this as probably the bright spot of our day or our week. It's really cool. How do you follow up with that good feeling? Part of it is by giving, right? Buying boxes. Part of it is also, yeah, and doing something. So some of it could be later, like, you guys all have busy schedules in your professional lives. There are ways for you to get involved too, and the spectrum of involvement doesn't have to be like you have to become a, in this case, a grandmother or a parent that's involved. There's other ways you can get involved. And so to give people ideas on how else they can be involved, you brought up the mentorship program as an example. There's just other ways for us, and give us ideas on how we can get involved is a good thing.
I would also say set your limit higher than the case of cookies. And really, it depends on which organization you're presenting to, but I think you can set a higher bar for yourselves and for the people you're meeting with. I'll buy a case of cookies for you guys, and I'm one person in a 2,500 person organization.
Do you know which variety you would like?
I do. I'll write it on my business card for you. And I want you to send them to the troops. I don't need to
to add, go ahead. In the presentation we talked about the Stanley Sam Summer Camp. Is that something that you guys know would you be interested in donating cookies to them?
To who?
Like to the Stanley Sam Summer Camp. It's for the.
Oh, sure.
So if you guys want to talk about that, like about how many boxes you want to donate or anything, you can leave, or if you know that you want to do it, just thought I'd bring it back up.
I have a business related question related to asking for this sale. How would be the best way for these girls to actually ask for that sale? I mean, they need to ask for it. I mean, in this case, you guys have already bought cookies. We walked in knowing that there was already a sale. So
how many did we buy? I wasn't there. We bought 300 boxes, and that was by the company. Okay.
Yeah. So there's that asking for the sale at the corporate level, which is really what the whole program was about. But of course, there is that individual.
Yep.
Individually, you might each want to buy cookies. But how do they say, okay, today we would like to suggest that you buy 100 boxes of cookies for the Stanley Sam Children's Hospital Summer Camp, and then maybe your corporation wants to buy 200 boxes of cookies for another. Do they just, should they give you a firm number or a range, like 100 to, are you interested in 100 or 500 boxes?
The thing that I was worried about with giving you guys a firm number is like, what if we give you a firm number and then you don't go over that? Because I know that some businesses, or not necessarily businesses, but some groups of people I've gone to have been like, I think that it would be nice if you guys could buy 2 cases. And they're like, okay, I'll buy 2 cases, but I could have bought 4.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just the reason that we didn't do that.
There's a sales psychology that a lot of times the sale is, hey, one of our goals is to sell you 100 boxes of cookies. We have found the best corporate sale we've ever made is 500. So if you'd like to do that, great. And we'd be thankful if you bought 1 box. What would work best for you? And giving people, there's a psychology of sales where, like, if you're at a site sale, someone comes by and says, hey, we have cookies, I'm sure you're very familiar with this. I wanted to see if you'd be interested in buying 5 boxes for $20. No, that's okay, I'm not interested. Well, how about 1 box? Okay, everyone can buy a box. So sometimes there's like a sales psychology of asking for something bigger, and then
Door
getting
face.
something half versus something small and getting another thing bigger. So
So what Troy's saying is if you had a program for the $100 executive, he'd be the first person to sign up.
And
But
Brad
Troy-
guessed it by buying.
see, like Brad's trying to close for you. I will say this.
But if there was a status for Troy, I mean, teasing you a little bit, but if there
Yes.
was like, you know, we have our $100 executives, our 25s, and our.
Yeah,
our
gold
Ys.
programs, platinum program.
And you can decide how many of those $100 you want to keep and how many
Yeah.
you want to donate, and here's where they would go.
Giving us options, and again, it's okay to press people a little bit and say, you know, hey Troy, would you like to be in the executive program? No, but I'll be in this program. Or yes, I will. I'm going to send you an email, and I'd love to make sure you get the follow-up email. So again, if you send me a follow-up email, I will contribute depending on the follow-up quality. I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but this is about learning, right? But absolutely agree to Brad's point is giving us an understanding what those options are. It's okay to have a big one, and yet even if somebody does not buy, you want to thank them for their time. But at a minimum, you should be able to walk out of a room like this with everyone making a small incremental purchase. But to Brad's point, knowing that is a goal and knowing that I'm going for this cause is very philanthropic.
Philanthropic.
That's a tough word for me right now. You know, everyone wants that. And I think the other thing is just knowing your audience. There's probably not a person at this table that hasn't bought cookies from one or more sources.
Who here hasn't bought cookies?
I bought from Courtney. Through
Next time,
through
yeah.
So I think sometimes that's a good thing to acknowledge, is like, how many people have bought cookies in one form or another this year, last year? You know, thank you so much. You know, we totally understand that, you know, many people out there understand that. Thank you, first of all, for the support. And yet, it would be great if we could also get additional support, whether it's even $1, because our goal is to raise money for this particular entity. And there's an old sales adage for rejection or overcoming objections called feel, felt, found. You can overcome any objection. It's like, no, I've already bought cookies this year. You try, know how you feel. The last 10 people that I've sold cookies to felt the same way. They'd already bought cookies. One thing they found is by contributing to this philanthropic cause, whatever that charity is, they felt like they actually need one extra bit of impact for their community based on a few boxes they bought. And so anyway, you want to balance asking for the sale with being incredibly thankful, but I think if you work on that skill, most people are pretty open if you come out of it with a smile.
One of the things that I talk about often in philanthropy is one of the hardest things to do is ask people to give money. One of the most rewarding things in life is to give money and time. And isn't it funny how there's that little conundrum between asking for it and then giving it? And so it's this awkward moment where you're trying to overcome that awkward moment by saying, listen, I don't know how many people have given. They raise their hands. I know your company has given generously, 300. It's amazing. We're just starting this program. We're so thankful that you're doing this. And for us, we're excited because we get the experience to be up here. Today, I want to tell you, we've started this program, and thanks to one of the first companies in it, they bought 300. While we haven't set exact targets, what we are trying to do is learn from this and find out what's the most what we realize engagement's important, and so you're trying to drive towards an emotional connection and make this very authentic. Like, it's hard to ask sometimes, even though you appreciate the rejection part as you've been standing in front of people doing the site sales, but trying to make that connection so personal, it's hard for the person to not go, okay,
You'd ask about the camp. That's a great question. I think that the reason people will not buy cookies is they don't know what to do with them, or they're worried they're going to eat them all. It happens early in the year, people are going to get in shape, I buy them, I'm going to eat them all, and then I'll feel bad. And Coke has, one of their missions is to inspire moments of optimism and happiness. And so, if the camp was one, if you could somehow tell the story of the people this year that aren't going to get any cookies, and someone could make an investment and share that optimism and happiness with someone that isn't going to get any cookies, that's a pretty cool story. And so we're used to, if you go to a Boy Scouts breakfast or lunch, you get a form, and it's, do you want to donate $100, $250, $500, $1,000? So people are used to donating at those levels, and they don't get anything in return. So I think the biggest objection you probably have is people are either waiting because they know either their own kids or friends or coworkers' kids are gonna sell to them, or they've already bought or they think they're gonna color cookies. And so if you have that path, so get the commitment. So don't, like, the camp, I don't know much about the camp. I don't know if they already have cookies there, the kids need the cookies. Sounds like a cool thing.
How many weeks do they run the camp?
Yeah, if I had people will buy cookies, and then if there's just a quick way they can check off, and here's where I want them to go. So it's essentially giving cookies to people that aren't gonna get them, but I think you would sell quite a few more.
And on that point, I'm sorry, you can never tell too personal of a story. So if you're gonna talk about donating them to the troops, and we all know what the troops are, but it's, last year we donated X amount of boxes, and by the way, one of our counterparts has an uncle in Afghanistan. Or if it's a camp, it's like, this camp has 350 kids, and you talk about, it's like, there's a person that we know a little bit, her name is Julie, she has this condition, for someone like Julie to actually get these cookies, it's such that one extra personal connecting point to just create a picture. Remember, we don't know anything about some of the things you're talking about. So telling that one personal story, personal stories are a great way to create a picture for us, like, oh, I want to help Julie. So really having those personal stories to take from a camp that we don't know much about to here's how many people, and you did a good job. Again, you gave some good, you did a good job at that one people want to connect those very personal stories. So don't be afraid to do a little homework on that kind of stuff.
Okay, so with the summer camp, it's the month of August, and they have 4 separate weeks. And the camp runs for a week, so the kids will be there for a week, and then the next week there's a new group of kids. And I think it's broken down, not necessarily by condition, but by how the doctors need to treat the kids, so that they can have the correct doctors on staff in case something happens to one of the kids. And in a week, they'll go through 800 boxes of cookies. So the donation is basically so that the camp doesn't have to buy cookies, because if they don't get the donations, they'll just buy them. But it's a non-profit. It's funded by Children's Hospital. They have lots of other expenses that they have to do. So sometimes they can't afford to buy as many cookies as the kids can consume. And I found out about the camp through my aunt. She used to work for Children's Hospital, and she knows Dr. Stam. So that's how I found out about it, and that's the way that I donated the first year. I think the first year that I donated, I only gave 30 boxes, something along that. It wasn't very much. And we haven't done it since then, just because most people don't know about, everyone knows about donating to the troops. Everyone knows about Operation Cookie Drop. We've had stories of soldiers come back and they'll say, we got so many boxes of cookies, we just built forts with them and we didn't even eat them. So these kids, the troops get so many boxes of cookies. The troops, well, I'm not asking you to buy for the troops. The troops get so many boxes of cookies, but oftentimes smaller corporations like the Stanley Sam Summer Camp don't get enough to give the kids as many cookies as they can eat. And this is the week that they get to have fun when the rest of the year they're going to be in the hospital because they're chronically ill.
To that point, it's interesting, it's one of maybe the other asks in terms of asking people. I don't necessarily have to buy $200 worth of cookies or 100, but if you said, could you make a $200 donation to the camp? And there's a handful of cookies that you're gonna get, a few boxes, let's say X, but more of it's the experience. We get asked by colleagues and other businesses all the time for donations. As Brad said, we've been acclimated in this 100, 250, 500, 1,000. Will you buy a table at the following auction for $1,500, etc.? In our numbers, you're working for a $4 up. When we're being asked for 100, 250, 500, if you kind of came in at that range and said, listen, there's something that we'd like your company's name on, a banner at this thing, and then there's this nice thank you, and there's a picture of all you guys underneath the banner, and a thank you note afterwards with a handful of boxes. We don't need that many boxes, right? And so there are other ways to ask where the boxes are just part of the actual thing that we get back. Because remember, we just want to give. Thank you very much.
Ladies,
Awesome.
great job.
Awesome.